Welcome to Shattering Stereotypes. I'm your host, Jerry McLaughlin. President Trump has just lashed out at Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Lashed out at her. Now, this is uncharted waters. Normally, a president doesn't blast a Supreme Court justice, and normally a Supreme Court justice doesn't blast a president. But Sonia changed this because she called him a faker. Now, the separation of powers, it doesn't waive our rights to First Amendment rights, but there's a certain protocol that we're used to. Let's look into this a little bit more. I'm looking at The Guardian from London, looking at the United States from the lens of Europe. It says, in a dissent last week, Justice Sonia Sotomayor criticized the Trump administration's frequent appeals to the Supreme Court to intervene in lower court decisions and the court's willingness to side with such requests. On Twitter, responding to a segment on Fox News' The Ingram Angle with Laura Ingram, Trump unleashed a tirade against Sotomayor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who have criticized the president in the past. So, I'll just read you his quote. We'll end at that. Quote, "This is a terrible thing to say," Trump wrote in his tweet, "trying to shame some into voting her way. She never criticized Justice Ginsburg when she called me a faker." This is significant, calling the president of the United States a faker from the separation of powers justice, 1/3 of what our framers had in mind here. You keep moving on with the quote. "She never criticized Justice Ginsburg when she called me a quote unquote faker. Both should recuse themselves on all Trump or Trump related matters," unquote. That's true. I never thought of that before. Those justices, if they're going to publicly blast Trump, they're showing that they cannot make an impartial decision. They're saying they're against him personally. Think about it. Share this video. Let others know that they should recuse themselves, maybe step down altogether. This is really trailblazing material here. Think it through. If any judge in any case were to speak out against a defendant for any reason, for instance, say, "I think that guy's a faker," how could a jury make an impartial decision? In this case, how could the other 8 justices, or 7 justices, because there's 2 of them that should recuse themselves, how can they hear it accurately? We've seen trials before where a judge will say something to a jury, objection, sustained, ignore that from your memory, strike that from the record. They can't ignore it from the memory. It's there, indelible. Trump is a faker. The Supreme Court justices are saying they can't do that. Please share this video. Comment if you disagree. I would like to hear who could possibly disagree with it. I suppose you could, but what's there to disagree with? Separation of powers. Those judges shouldn't be doing that. But they hate Trump. They hate him with such a passion. It shows in everything they do.